Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. I will be your key lounge today, Steve. I've finally wrestled the host reins of Patrick, and I am in charge of this cart. Who else do we have on the lounge today? Jeff, want to speak up?
Why am I here? Final Fantasy XVI came out today. I shouldn't be here. I should be playing that.
Well, like we want to talk about some good video games. So I don't know why you want to play that one. Can't believe it's taken.
Yeah, why should I settle for good when I can be playing great?
Oh, alright, that's a good one. Well, hopefully in the news we'll be hearing something about that not being exclusive to PlayStation. So is
that cope I hear?
The amount of cope I feel is
genuine.
It cannot be measured. It literally cannot be measured. The fact that there is still no Final Fantasy VII remake on Xbox. There is no Final Fantasy XIV on Xbox. And there is no Final Fantasy XVI on Xbox. Really makes me feel like a second-class citizen here.
As it should. Square Enix, they're doing God's work by gatekeeping the Xbox community.
Well, we'll gatekeep in Starfield, so you can enjoy your... I think it's Final Fantasy XVI is like only an 88 on Metacritic. So when Starfield comes out and everyone gives it a 99, it will well and truly be kept out.
You think it'll pass Tears of the Kingdom?
Yep, there you go. Calling it here.
What is their Metacritic for Tears of the Kingdom?
96, I believe.
It is 96.
There you go. And well, look, as long as you think you're having fun, Saif, and you think it's a good game, I guess the objective opinion doesn't really count. But what else has been going on? It's just us two on the lounge. What have you been up to? What other games? Because Final Fantasy only came out today, and I'm assuming you've been at work.
I've been coping. My disc came in at lunchtime. I put it in to install while I was working, and the game's just sitting on my PlayStation right now, and I'm staring at it, just salivating over not being able to play.
Salivating, even. That's a... Well, I'm sorry, you're just like pacing around your living room, barking at it.
The need is huge.
What else have you been doing? It's been a week, it only came out today. 6 other days?
Yeah, so I tried to finish Tears of the Kingdom, actually. That didn't go as I planned, but I'll give a small update on that in a little bit. And I also watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie, the one where every trailer of that made it look like the worst parts of an MCU movie possible.
Yeah, I also watched, I didn't know you were watching it as well, but I watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie like a week ago. So let's compare and contrast notes. I've got some thoughts about that.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't know I was watching it either until the day before.
Okay. You didn't see it in theaters, did you?
No.
It's not out anymore. Yeah, cool.
It's not in theaters anymore. Trin rented it on Amazon, I think it was, and so she just screen shared it for the server to watch.
Doesn't sound entirely legal, but who am I to talk? I pirated the thing. Oh no, people knocking on my door right now. I better go answer that.
FBI, it's him. He's the man pirating all the Nintendo games.
Please don't say that. That's actually not funny. That will give me life in prison, and then I'll still have to pay $250 million to Nintendo. Not that they need it, though.
A third of your paycheck for the rest of your life.
I will simply never work again.
How about you, Steven? What have you been up to this past week?
Nothing new. Still chipping away Persona. I'm making a bit more progress in Vampire Survivors, which is... I'm really enjoying that game. But maybe trying to get 100% in it it's not unaccomplished. It's just taken a lot longer than what I thought. I thought I'd be able to do it a lot faster than what I have, but because it goes by level, and because I can't read some of the achievements, I'm not doing the right things.
And you also have to pray that the RNG is in your favor.
Not really. There isn't that much for a roguelike. I don't really find that RNG is that much of a factor in this. And maybe it's just on the second I see a weapon or a build I want, I'll just go for it and it sort of works out. But and definitely depending on how much I've definitely turned off like hyper mode and reinvested my points so I don't do. I put it all in curse. I'm not get fucking overwhelmed in like 3 seconds. But yeah, still chipping away. So how about actually no story time is Stephen. So as we all know, Krispy Kreme, very friend of the podcast. Some might say we're all crispy friends here, or cream friends.
As long as we don't talk about the cookies and cream donut, then we're all friendly here.
Oh boy, well, better strap yourselves in for this story. So a new Krispy Kreme store opened up about 10-minute walk from my office today.
Question: since it's a fresh new store, yet. Like really quick question. Since you just mentioned it's a new store, did you manage to convince them to sponsor us? Did you even tell them that we're the #1 Krispy Kreme podcast in Australia?
Well, if you let me finish my story, maybe there is a happy little twist to it. So, like,
okay, I'll wait patiently.
Yeah, all right, that's all I ask. That's all I ask. Maybe you set yourself down with the cookies and cream donut.
Never mind. I will interrupt the story at every opportunity.
Yeah, very, very cool. Very, very Seth-like. Very me-core. It's me-core. Yeah, so I decided that, yeah, cool, I'll go check it out. Because what they were doing is on their social media, they were saying, oh, yeah, cool. We'll give out 3,000 free donuts and the first 100 people in line will get like beanies. And I'm like, you know what? I fucking love beanies and I love free donuts. I'm going to go. But like it opened at fucking 6 and I'm like, I'm not going at 6. It's very cold here on the eastern states in Sydney, or sorry, the eastern suburbs of Sydney. Oh, hang on. It was very cold on the east coast of New South Wales. And so I wake up, I go in about an hour early. So I probably get to the Krispy Kreme at like 7:10. And they've got like a full fucking band out the front. They had trumpets, they had like drums. They were just doing like weird covers of modern day songs. There was a couple of people in line, but not really. I get a wristband. The wristband says I'm number 58 or 59 or something. I go inside. I buy an original glazed donut and a cookies and cream donut, and then I get a beanie and a free donut. So there I am. I've got my fucking 3 donuts, and my fucking beanie, and it was fucking fantastic. Oh. Woo! Didn't have to line up for that long. It was like a 10-minute walk from the Krispy Kreme to my office, so I got to eat some donuts on the way. Probably instead of getting the donuts, I should have bought like a coffee or a mocha instead. I don't know why I did that.
A mocha or a hot chocolate would have been really good this morning because it was really cold. It was cold over here, so I can't imagine what it was like in the city where it's closer to the sea.
Yeah, it was very fucking cold. But yeah, I got a free beanie, got some free Krispy Kreme, paid for some Krispy Kreme. And they also gave me like some coupons to come back and I get a $1 coffee with a purchase next time I'm there. So might have to sneak back tomorrow. That'd be all right. But yeah, it was cool. A great time. Shout outs to Krispy Kreme and Haymarket. This is unfortunately not sponsored content, but if you do want to sponsor us, please get in touch. fasttravellounge@gmail.com. Actually, well, you know what?
Did you tell them that information in the store? Because you're saying it now, but it's more important that you told them face to face.
Look, I said thank you for the donut, then I left.
You ruined our chance. You were right there, prime opportunity to give them the podcast information. Tell them, hey, we're like the biggest supporters of Krispy Kreme in Australia on a podcast. Maybe a little tip here and there, just to get things going. But no, you had to be nervous. You had to buy a donut.
Whoa, nervous! Whoa! No one said I was nervous. Don't make me come out like I'm some person with no social skills whatsoever.
You had to buy a cookies and cream donut, and then you left with your tail between your legs.
I didn't leave. I had a cookies and cream donut. I was literally like the amount of saliva that was coming out of my mouth. Whew. I wasn't even able to speak. I was just nothing but saliva. Whoa. Nom.
I bet they had to follow you with a mop.
Yeah, they do. Wow.
That's not a good thing.
Hang on, I had that wham, wet ass mouth. Anyway, doesn't matter. So yeah, that's my Krispy Kreme story. If you've got a Krispy Kreme story, please get in touch. If you actually sell donuts, get in touch. Maybe we can give you a shout out, or at the very least, eat your donuts. Very big fan of donuts here.
You don't have to be Krispy Kreme necessarily. We're willing to shill anyone else.
Are we?
I am. I'm willing to shill anyone else.
Yeah, sell donuts, but there really is only one.
No. As long as they're selling donuts.
You're right. How about if you sell us your donuts or give us your donuts, we will compare you to Krispy Kreme, and the amount of donuts we get will be directly in line with how good it is. If that makes sense, and how favorable the comparison. But enough. I probably shouldn't be talking about donuts. I'm actually very hungry. So Dungeons and Dragons, Seth. Talk me.
Yeah,
it's a movie.
Sure. Yeah, it's a movie. So,
I like your chat. See you later.
Like I alluded to before, that Dungeons and Dragons movie had a lot of trailers that tried to make it look very MCU like, and they showed like all the worst jokes, and it was really awfully edited in every trailer, and it just made it look like the worst movie that was ever going to happen this year. Glad that's not the case, because The Flash also came out and took that crown. But no, Dungeons and Dragons, surprisingly good. I had a lot of fun with it. Like, not good as in good cinema, but good to have a sit down and watch with some friends and have a good time. Good, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Stephen?
I think it does. Yeah, so a good cast of this movie as well. I'm looking. Actually, no, you keep going.
Yeah, so just a quick summary. So the movie follows a character called Edgin Darvis, who is a member of the Harpers, and he starts off in prison because he turned to a life of crime after his wife was killed by a red wizard. So he starts off like giving his backstory. There's a lot of like, if you've played Dungeons and Dragons, there's lots of Dungeons and Dragon-isms in this movie. So this is like the moment of, we're introducing the characters, so here's their backstory moment. And that's kind of a fun way to introduce the movie and the character. I really enjoyed that, because it's written like someone would have written a Dungeons and Dragons character, where they have like this dark and tragic past, especially for a thief. But yeah,
he's not a thief; he's a bard.
Yeah, I guess I call him a thief because he returned to a life of crime. But yeah, he is a bard. He is
actually,
bard.
That's a good point. Okay, so before we get too far into it, have you played Dungeons and Dragons before, Seth?
I've played a few first sessions of campaigns that never went anywhere.
Man, that's a tale as old as time.
Yeah, the classic. I've played maybe 3 times.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I play quite frequently. Like, I've done a couple of campaigns. I've done one shots with a couple of friends as well. So it was, my attachment to this is probably a bit different to yours. Like, there was a lot of references throughout the movie to other D&D areas. But it's as someone who's played D&D and was watching it with my girlfriend who has never played D&D, there are Easter eggs in it for people like me that have played it, but you can still completely watch this without knowing anything about the broader universe or the broader lore. It is a very, I don't want to say it in a negative, but it's not like a low barrier for entry, but like, you can watch this movie regardless of your interactions with Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, no, it's a fun movie just to get in if you know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons. The one that did hit me, kind of, is I haven't played it, but I'm very aware of the Baldur's Gate games. And I often forget that they're a D&D thing. So when in the movie they're like, so there's this thing happening at Baldur's Gate. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That is a Dungeons and Dragons property.
It is. Number 3's coming out soon. Actually, side tangent, because I wanted to ask. Have you played any of those Baldur's Gate games?
No, I just said I haven't played them. I'm aware of them, but yeah, I haven't actually played them. I hear they're very good though.
They're dated when Baldur's Gate 2 came. And look, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, yeah. So, Edgin's backstory is that he was in this order called the Harpers. A red wizard killed his wife, and he blames the Harpers for that happening. So he turns to a life of crime. Actually, he turned to a life of crime beforehand because the Harpers weren't paying well, and he thought that his wife deserved a better life than what he was able to give her. And yeah, so his crew of misfits just grew and grew, and then eventually they went for this tablets that revives people. And through getting that, he was betrayed by the guy that betrayed him is an actual thief, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, or a rogue. One of the two.
Rogue, I think, is the
Yeah.
I was just about to say it is like a rogue. Yeah.
Yeah, so the rogue betrays him.
The rogue is played by Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, very, very, very good. He's hamming it up a little bit, and I love that in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the rogue betrays them. And so the bard and the barbarian get captured.
No, sorry, it's not Pierce Brosnan. Sorry, it's Hugh Grant.
Yes, Hugh Grant.
My bad. But another English person. Sorry, my bad. I'm getting my
all the
James
English
Bond.
people look the same too, Stephen.
They do. All white people look the same. There you go. I said it. Send me to white people jail.
But yeah, the entire time this backstory is being laid out, Edgin keeps interrupting himself, like going, "Look, where's this other judge that's supposed to be giving us our parole? Like, there's 3 of you here. There's supposed to be a 4th one. Where is he? Like, it's really important that he hears it." But the other judges are just like, "Look, carry on. There's 3 of us here. It'll be a majority vote if you pass. We don't need him here." So he ends up showing up, like, right as he finishes his backstory. The 4th judge shows up. He's a Birdman, so Edgin and his barbarian friend Holger, who is played by Michelle Rodriguez, who's, for me, is most commonly known for the Fast and Furious movies. She bulked up a lot for this movie, actually. I don't know if she's bulked up for some of the Fast and Furious movies, but she's bulked up a lot since the last time I've seen her in anything.
Yeah, she's fucking huge. Whoa.
But yeah, they both grab the Birdman, jump out of a window that's there, and
Aarakocra.
And the parole judges are just like, "You didn't have to do that. We granted you the parole. If you waited 5 seconds, you would have been approved and out of here a free man."
Yeah.
And that just kind of sets the whole tone for the movie. I won't go too much further into this. It's just like, so the rest of the story, the movie's story is about trying to get that tablet that Hugh Grant stole from them earlier in the movie in their backstory, and try to get back his daughter, because Hugh Grant's convinced the daughter of Edgin that he left her behind intentionally. He basically just abandoned her. So yeah, so the rest of the movie is about that and the conspiracies they're coming up with. Very good, very fun movie. Lots of stuff in there that are D&D isms and things you'd want to show up from a D&D campaign. It like I said before, things feel like they're from a D&D experience. Like, some of the characters acts like they're being played by player characters. Some of the backstories for the characters and just how they behave feel like someone wrote them to be quirky. Like Helga, the character played by Michelle Rodriguez, she's a giant barbarian, but then she's got this quirk of she really loves dwarves. And I don't know, that
or
just
dwarves or halflings or like
little people.
Actually, yeah, because she's like 8 feet tall. Like, it's a weird fetishization of people like more than half her size, and that is very funny.
It's very funny, and it feels like something someone would have written for their character to make them more quirky, just to have fun with a character.
Yeah, it is very, very funny. And how all the characters interact as well, it feels like very organic, but it still keeps like the comedy and the lightheartedness of what a D&D campaign would be. It is fun. Like, it's a fun movie. Like, I half expected them to get like a bunch of lore stuff wrong and for it to just be like for lack of a better word, a junk food movie, which is essentially what it is. But it like nails the lore really well. It captures the essence of a bunch of people getting together to have fun. Like, there's jokes at the end of sentences. That sort of are follow-ons from like that are like continuous themes throughout the movie, but they don't feel like forced. It's not like a Thor: Love and Thunder where they're saying something funny every 3 seconds. But every interaction does have a funny moment, but it doesn't seem like it's intentionally. It seems like silly, And it's sort of, that can sort of be seen as a negative, but I see it as like a positive. Like like when the movie's serious, it is serious. But throughout the rest of the movie, it does keep it lighthearted. And maybe that's just because I play D&D, and a lot of my D&D campaigns are on the more of the lighthearted side. I thought it did capture the soul, for lack of a better word, of like Dungeons and Dragons, and it does the lore quite well. So I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I think what really captures the essence of D&D in this example is like they go to what's it called, the Underdark.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a point where they go to the Underdark, and the fuck up sage mage of the group as the NPC, like in quotation marks, paladin is guiding them through the dungeon and telling them what to do. He steps on the wrong brick of a bridge, and it breaks down the entire bridge because it was a trap. And the paladin was trying to explain to them this very long, convoluted way to make sure that they got through it properly. And that feels like something a player character would do either by accident or even on purpose, just to fuck with the DM. And
it feels like a failed roll. It feels like, okay, you guys are all standing around, do like an acrobatics check or a luck check to be like wherever you're all standing. Oh shit, you failed your check. You fucked. Or
even then, someone interrupting the DM while this long explanation is going on, and they're like, "Look, I'm going to try and cross the bridge," and then they do a fail check, so it just breaks the bridge on them. Like they get tired of listening to the DM explaining it, and they just want to move on. And then the DM has to.
I do my own thing. No, fuck you. You're getting punished.
Yeah, and then directly after, the DM has to do like a MacGuffin save. So like, Holga had this walking stick that she picked up from her ex boyfriend earlier in the movie, and so they just go, "Oh no, this is a teleportation staff," and it's little things like that are like they laid a foundation that staff could have been anything. And the DM just decided, oh no, so this is a teleportation staff now. This is going to get you across the bridge now that you've broken it.
Yeah. And they do some like fuck around and like kind of thing, and they break it like magic.
It feels natural. It feels like something that would happen in a campaign.
Yeah, it does. Which is quite I find it like, I enjoyed it, but I found it a bit awkward because I asked my girlfriend, like, did you like it? And she's never played Dungeons and Dragons. She's never interacted with it or anything. And she's like, yeah, she really enjoyed it. Like she enjoyed like the other references because it made the world feel bigger. But she also enjoyed them fucking around because it felt natural. Like it didn't feel like as if they're fucking around for the sake of fucking around. It's like, okay, we've got something. We can use this to sort of break the area and do it a lot easier. And it's like, okay, cool, we can do that. And that was it. It's interesting having that point of view. And for the record, she really liked it as well. I don't think she appreciated it as much as what I did. But that's simply because I came into this movie thinking it would be shit, and then it was really good from the sake of it's like a good junk food movie, but it's also a good adaptation of Dungeons and Dragons. Like the Dungeons and Dragons lore. Like it's not a bunch of people getting together, rolling dice on a table and playing it out or some isekai type of bullshit. It is Dungeons and Dragons lore. It's a campaign that's been like made into a movie. And that's why I appreciated it.
Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff in there that if you're a Dungeons and Dragons player or fan, then there's things to dig into and really appreciate. But just even from an outsider's perspective, if you're even vaguely familiar with fantasy elements, then this is just a good movie to watch because like, it's going to sound really stupid that I say this, but a lot of the good things about this movie is just the character stories and how they interact with each other, and all of that feeling natural, all of the characters actually being written really well. You can just kind of appreciate their performances and how they bounce off each other, even if you're not familiar with D&D at all. Like, it's a good movie for and foremost before even being a good Dungeons and Dragons movie, I feel.
And I found like the special effects were like quite good as well. Like considering there's a bunch of spells, there's a bunch of CG and all that kind of stuff. Like none of the characters were like non-humans. Like there were no like the cat people or the bird people like the Aarakocras or anything. Like
yeah, they actually do a good job of blending in props and CG.
Yeah, it was quite good.
Like
and
the
fight scenes as well were quite directed.
The Underdark dungeon set actually looks like a set they made instead of just green screening the actors into it.
Yeah, and like the labyrinth part at the end, that was pretty cool as well. I genuinely enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would, and the more that I'm like talking about it and reminiscing on it, like I'm probably liking it even more.
I'm kind of getting that same feeling. It's like it's just fun to talk about, and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, would I go back and watch it again? Probably not really. Like it is a junk food movie in the sense of, I mean, I enjoyed watching it, and that's cool. Like I enjoyed like eating junk food. Do I necessarily have a craving for junk food later on? No, not really. But if there's nothing else in the house, I'll watch it type of stuff. And the soundtrack as well is pretty good as well. I'll say that as well. Yeah. You know what? I genuinely had a good time with this movie. It's much better. Like I know it probably sounds very negative, but I came into this with sort of a negative mindset, and then as it kept going, I'm like, oh, it's a bit different to what I thought it was, and then it like sort of finished, and I was like, oh, okay, they did some serious parts, they did a lot of funny stuff, but it all worked. It all came together quite well.
Yeah, so I'd actually go and say I'd probably watch it again, more for the point of not to go watch it on my own, but like show it to other people and watch it with them, sort of thing. So I only watched this because Trin really liked it and she wanted to show it off to me and some other friends on our Discord server. Only one other person showed up, so it was just like me, Trin, and one friend.
Nah, sorry, man. My invite must have gotten lost.
And I'd be fine with doing another night of just, hey, I really like this. Let's try to get more people and introduce them to the movie, or even just like local friends going, hey, so I really like this movie. If we're going to have a movie night sort of thing, maybe we should watch this sort of thing. It's not like I'll go out and watch it a couple of times on my own, but just like if I can find an excuse to watch it with people, I'd do that.
Yeah, okay, I could sort of see that. I probably wouldn't, just because it's very like predictable and there's nothing deeper. Maybe to pick up on a couple of Easter eggs, I'd watch it again, but I don't really see myself watching it again. But that's not a negative thing. That's the movie doesn't have depth, and not all movies need to have depth. Like it's a nice, light-hearted movie. Yeah, I enjoyed it. What'd you rate it out of 10, Mark?
I'd give it like an 8.
Interesting.
Maybe people would think that's too high, but I really did enjoy this. Like like you said, I came in with this with really low expectations because the trailers looks really bad. I was expecting a bad movie out of this. So coming in and getting like actually surprised of how good it was, and just being a fun movie to watch and talking with people while it was going on, it was good. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, 8.
Yeah, I think I was going to give this movie a 6, but then like the more I've spoken about it, the more it's like, you know what, I genuinely had a good time. And it's, if you are watching the movie by yourself for whatever reason, like you probably won't have the same experience as watching it with like someone else and just laughing and being able to like, oh, that was funny, ha ha, and just talking about it afterwards. But yeah, I'd probably give it a 7.
Yeah, look, I'm going to put it this way. I was expecting to talk about this movie for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops, because we both watched it recently. We've been at it for almost 20 minutes now. We've gone like a lot longer than I thought we would on this movie, and it's just because of pure enjoyment of this movie and talking about it, like how much we did like it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like, when I said there's no depth, I just mean that there's no like,
it's not a deep movie. You're not going to think after it like you would with The Whale.
Yeah,
like this isn't cinema. This is just a movie. And yeah, I watched The Whale pretty recently as well.
I need to watch it. Good. Yeah.
The Whale is very good, by the way.
Yeah, I need to watch that. Yeah. Oh, maybe after. But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. Go see it. I believe it's streaming on Paramount Plus. If you're in Australia, or if you want to get it in other ways, maybe get a friend to stream it to you. Very cool.
Steven might know a couple of websites where you can get it.
Twitter.com, just like the Mario movie. Brazilian TV show. I'm not sure I want to give a Vampire Survivors update. Essentially, what I'm trying to do is 100% it. And it's the probably biggest thing. I was trying to get to level 80 on a certain level. But for some reason, I thought that meant survive 31 minutes. So I had like the endless mode on it. And for some reason, I was just like bucking around and dropping the ball. So I get to like 27, 28 minutes and I'd like sort of just stop paying attention and I'd die. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So that was quite
those last couple of minutes really matter to me. Like, I feel like you got to concentrate a little bit because there's so many things swarming you that, like, you just got to every now and then micro move so that you're not getting swarmed too much. And if you've got a healing thing, then micro moving will help you get more things to heal faster.
Yeah, and just making sure that all like your weapons are evolved and like depending on which path, for lack of a better word, like you got like the 1,000 knives or whatever it is, like that evolved one for that. You got to make sure you're sort of moving in a straight line. Or if you've got the wand, you got to make sure you're sort of moving a little bit. Like I was just like dropping the ball. I did it like 3 times in a row, and I'm like, here we go. But then I did reach 31 minutes, and I quit out, and I didn't get anything. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? But it turns out you got to have to hit level 80, and I would have been about like level 70 or 75 by that time. So that was like, oh, very frustrating. So I just put the game down. But yeah, I'm still really enjoying it. I'm probably at that stage where it's like I'm burning out. Like I'm still having fun with it. Like it is very basic gameplay, but maybe because I've unlocked everything and I've played so much of it, I definitely am okay, I've got to get through this now as opposed to I want to get through this.
Yeah, if it's starting to feel like a chore, maybe it's best to back out now and give yourself some space for a little bit.
No, if I do that, I will never go back to it. And I don't have that much left. Like I've literally got like 4 or 5 or something. And then I've got all the DLC, and from what I've heard, the DLC are like quite refreshing in what they do. Like the new characters and enemies and map is like pretty good. And there's only, I think there's 2 or 3 DLC, and they're like $2 each. Like it's pretty cheap. It is.
Yeah, so the game itself is ridiculously cheap if you're not playing it on Game Pass or mobile. And the DLC on top of that is just even cheaper. It's insane. But I guess because it seems like I don't want to say low effort, but low budget game. Yeah. And so they can get away with that. And with how popular it is, they've probably made bank like really easily.
100%, yeah. Like that game, when was it? Like end of 2022 it came out? Like everybody was going off about it. Or end of 2021. Like I remember like hearing a lot of people talk about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't really think it was a game for me. And then you guys were fucking jacking each other off about it. I'm like, oh fine, I'll play it. I'm like, well man, this game's great. Why didn't you tell me about it soon?
Yeah, no, it's just a really good dopamine hit.
Yeah, and the way that the timer works, it's like, okay, I've played it for like 1 level. Cool, I did it. Fantastic. I do enjoy sort of those time-based runs as opposed to how far can you get until you eventually die. But no, yeah, Vampire Survivors, I'd still highly recommend anybody checking it out. Like, I'm very conscious of that when people see it, the experience is different when you're actually playing it. Like it's like watching gameplay is very different to playing this game, and it's very hard for me to go, look up some things on YouTube if you might like it. But it's like when I first were watching those videos and those reviews of it coming out, I was like, I don't like this game, and then I played it because it's on Game Pass. There you go, and it's only a couple of bucks, like what, $4 or $5.
Yeah, something like that.
Steam,
maybe 7 at most.
Yeah, like it's probably goes on sale all the time as well. Like I still highly recommend it. It does take a little bit of time to get used to and to get into, but yeah, fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I still am enjoying it. I'm just at that stage where it's like, okay, got other video games to play. I can't keep bucking around. But then at the same time, half that's
I kind of fell off of Vampire Survivors because Tears of the Kingdom came out and then Street Fighter came out. So I haven't gotten back to it in a little while.
Yeah, not cool. Not cool at all.
I'll get back to it afterwards. I'm very good about going back to these type of games afterwards. Like with Hades, I finished 5 runs and then something distracted me from that. And then a year later, I came back and finished the rest of the runs you need to finish a story for that.
Interesting. I can never do that, especially with roguelikes. I cannot, like, every now and then I'll come back to Slay the Spire, and I definitely feel that, like, I've, like, lost it. And by the time I get back to it, I just fall back off it, and I'm like, I don't do this.
Hades, for me, is a very easy game to play because it's like a more action-oriented game, and I just like action games. And at that point, the story wasn't really. It wasn't in the deepest moments. It was more like I left off at a hook, and then I came back when the hook got its answers. So it was like it wasn't the worst time to go out and then come back in. And yeah, just finishing it off, I got like there's a bunch more stories I can finish off that are like side stories, but the main story is all wrapped up. So I'm okay to just play through a run and also at my own leisure. And it's also one of those games where if I had gone back and restarted, then I would have really hated it because you got to start the crawl all the way back again.
Yeah,
I'm okay. I'd be okay doing a reset now that I finished it, but being halfway and then resetting, I would have absolutely hated it.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. But yeah, now I'm getting excited. I sort of want to skip over it. Something that I've just seen, I'd like to get your thoughts on, Steph. Because it is very tangentially related to Donut Chat, and we've got some free time to scream at each other and be sick. So you know the brand Twisties, right?
Absolutely love Twisties. I used to eat a shit ton of cheese Twisties as a kid.
Cheese Twisties are the worst fucking Twisties, man. Shut the fuck up, man. I hate you so much. Anyway.
I think the zigzag ones are probably the weakest ones.
Every fucking day with you, every fucking week. I mean, I love the chicken zigzag, the chicken zags, whatever they're called. Ooh,
the chicken. Anyway. So my obsession as a child was like started with the chicken Twisties and then went to the cheese Twisties.
Okay. I can't eat the chicken Twisties now. I've eaten too much of them. But anyway, so they are collaborating with Donut King, and they are creating cinnamon donut flavored Twisties. Thoughts?
I'm always okay with these collaborations because
my god, no, you shouldn't be okay with this.
I'm curious enough about it.
What are you going to do next? Mix 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom? You can't really do this anymore, man. That was a funny chemistry joke.
Remember when Krispy Kreme and Golden Gate Time teamed up? I was okay with the idea. The Krispy Kreme donut for Golden Gate Time was really good.
Those are 2 sweets. Like Twisties are savory. Donuts are sweet. You don't mix savory and sweet because they cancel each other out and you just get bad. Whoa.
But yeah, I'm okay with these just to see the experiment behind it. Like that Krispy Kreme and Golden Gate Time one, the donuts were good. The ice cream was terrible.
We'll see how we go. We will see how we go. I don't think this will be good in any sense of the word. But
you know what? When it drops, we're going to have a food check-up on it.
You're right. Let's all get together and we'll play Soggy Twisty.
You know what? Never mind. We are not testing these on the podcast anymore.
This has become a food podcast. Man, we jacked each other off so fast. Well, thank you very much, everyone. We've come to the end of Round the Lounge.
Wait a second. I wanted to do a quick Tears of the Kingdom update.
Did you? It's not on your on the docket. Sorry, man. But
I said it in the Round the Lounge part, though.
You did. Yeah,
it's just you weren't listening.
Yes, I was too busy thinking of those sweet Krispy Kreme cookies and cream.
But yeah, the quickest of
Tears of the Kingdom, such a great game.
Yeah, the quickest of quick updates for Tears of the Kingdom is I tried to finish it before Final Fantasy XVI came out today. I didn't. I finished the 4 main dungeons they set you off with at the beginning, and I think I'm staring the end game down the barrel, and I'm just like, no, I think this game, if I just mainline the story elements of this will take maybe another 5 to 6 hours maximum. And as 5 to 6 hours, I'm not playing Final Fantasy 16, so I'm going to come back to this later. But for now, I've been really enjoying the game. All the dungeons have been great. Even like some of the ones that other people have complained about, I'm just like, yeah, no, I enjoyed this enough. These are all way better than the great beasts in Breath of the Wild have ever been. And I'm just gonna say it now. I think we talked about it last time we had the Tears of the Kingdom update. But every time you finish a dungeon, you get like an extra character to come out and just be in the overworld with you and you're just building a party of characters. I think that's really sick for this game.
Yeah,
they do get a little annoying when they keep getting in front of you and you activate their abilities. But just the idea of you have all these NPCs around you that help you take down enemies is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think they should have made that an item. Just because, like, when I'm trying to, for example, use the Goron to like break a rock or something, but I accidentally hit the Zoro one, which literally just does fucking nothing. I think
it lets you tank a hit.
Does it?
Yeah, it's one free hit, and if you attack while you're surrounded by the bubble, then it does a water slash for you.
Yeah, I know that water slash. I don't water slash. I do like 1 million damage. I don't time for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I went and did all the great fairies. Like in general, I've done everything I want to, besides like hitting up shrines and maybe a couple of side quests. But like the things I'm mostly interested in, I've gone and done. I used a duplication glitch to max out the Hylian armor set, so I am no longer dying in 2 hits. I can actually like take a hit from a really big enemy and I just lose like 1 heart maximum. That's really nice to have now. Really nice to have defense.
Yeah, you did take that for granted. Like I wasn't like tanking hits. I was like, just because I had that many hearts. That's the only reason I was surviving. So then I started doing the Great Fairies. So hang on, the Hylian armor, is that the one with
that's the first set you get from the lookouts.
The
tower.
one with the hood. Yeah,
the one with the hood.
So I think I've got those at like level 3 or something.
Yeah, I got those maxed out. They don't get a set bonus when you max them out, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't think they did. Yeah,
I thought they might have something on the last level, but no.
Well, it's a shame. Yeah,
I was thinking of trying to get all the like area sets done, but I was just like, I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah, like at what point do you have to
I upgraded them a little bit just so when I was doing their areas, I'd have some defense. Like I got the Zora's like chest piece. I was like, okay, I'm gonna quickly go get this up like 3 levels, I guess, like not maximum, just get it as far as I can, and then go into a dungeon. So I'm not hurting for defense by replacing my chest armor. But that was about it, really.
Yeah. I think because I sort of like I did 3 temples and then I went to the Great Fairies. It kind of like.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing.
Yeah, but no, yeah, you're right. I'm really enjoying this game. I'm getting a bit lost in like the side quests, and sometimes it'll take me a bit weird, like a weird amount of time to like get somewhere or do something because I'll.
Yeah, I've been making heavy use of quick traveling now.
Yeah, and I just don't fucking have my horse, and I'm like, no, I don't need it, and it's just longer than what it should take.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Quick time check if you know off the top of your head how much you've been like how much time you have in the game.
I think I've put 55, 60 hours in it. Like more than what I thought I would, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I'm closing in on 80 hours. I'm just doing a double check now because I'm loading it up. 72 about 75, 76 hours in the game right now.
Yeah.
And it's like still so much I could do. Like I want to emphasize I'm cutting a lot off the table just so I could have mainlined the rest of the game. And you know what? I'll probably go and do that side stuff now that I'm delaying the end game until after I finish 16.
Yeah. No, I'm worried I'll get to a point where like I'll burn out or something. Because with Breath of the Wild, I think I got like to 80. It must have been like 65, 70 hours actually. But it was like the only game I was playing at the time. And I was unemployed at the time. So I just put a lot of time into that in a short period of time. And I got to like, by the time I got to Ganon, I'm like, I just want this to be over. And I don't want me to have this all. Because there was a bunch of like side stuff I missed. And I replayed the game like 2 or 3 years ago now. And I did enjoy it. But my first run through, I burnt out on it so fucking hard. And
yeah, I think what helps with Tears of the Kingdom is that the side quests are actually more substantial. Like the ones in Breath of the Wild, all of them. Yeah, in Breath of the Wild, all of them had like here's a neat little story, and it ends with you getting a shrine. This one actually has a lot of things that like end in getting armor pieces or just getting some neat story and backstory to the world and characters.
Like a piece or a diamond or something like that, or just the sake of completing it. Like they don't force you. Okay, the rewards shrine. It's like, no, cool. Give me something else.
Like when I started to head towards the Zoro domain, I had already gone the shrine in the Zoro domain to quick travel there. And then I went and talked to Sidon, and I was like, you know what? I'm at 3 orbs. I'm going to quickly do the closest shrine I can to get to 4. Yeah. And then doing that 4th one, I was like, oh, hey, I never went to this town. This is the town where you buy a house and build houses in Breath of the Wild. I'm going to go over there and like check it out. And I got caught up in this whole side quest about Hudson and Hudson having to deal with his daughter going to Gerudo Village because her time to go back there is coming up. And that was a really sweet story, and I'm glad I took the time to go and do that. And that was like 2 hours of just messing around doing that area, doing shrines around that area, doing that side quest. And it's like, I was planning to do the Zoro domain, and I've just gotten invested in this guy's story.
It is so easy to get sidetracked. Like, I'll just do one like this thing, and it's like, okay, it took a long time, but it's not like a bad time. It's like I enjoyed the time. It just took longer than I thought it would. Like,
and sometimes you don't even notice how long it's gone. And then after that 2 hours of doing that side quest, I spent maybe 3 hours trying to build my house because it wasn't turning out the way I wanted it to.
Oh, did you actually buy a house there? I didn't do that.
Yeah, because I grinded so much money. I just bought a house and bought like a shit ton of rooms and built something I tried to be happy with.
Actually, I don't even think I've spoken. I don't think I have the house. I don't even think I have the quest to get the house because I missed that.
Yeah, once you finish that side quest with the daughter, you just talk to the Gerudo wife and she'll set you up.
Yeah, speak to Big Mummy. Well, let's leave that quick update. Let's leave that there as well. Tears of the Kingdom, great game.
Yeah, fantastic game.
Yeah, like I said it before, I say it again. I say it in real life as well to friends. This probably will be one of the greatest games of all time. Like there, I said it. Like they caught lightning in a bottle with Breath of the Wild. Not only have they done it again,
they caught 2 pieces of lightning this time. Yeah,
like they have fixed. I think like they've still got weapon degradation, but they've sort of changed the way it works with that fuse mechanic, for the better. I think, and the powers they've got. Like while the overworld is still the same, which is a bit unfortunate. Which while everybody's calling it a DLC, the powers you get and the way you interact with the world is so different and so unique, and
being able to build shit.
Yeah, and it just works. Like, it's just easy to do stuff. Like, it's not like, oh, I've got to do something. Like, it just works. It's so good. Like, it isn't a traditional Zelda, and that's fine. But it doesn't have to be. It's new. Like,
I will admit,
this is open world games done right.
I will admit, I think the underground map is fluff for the sake of having fluff, but everything on the ground level and the sky is fantastic.
Yeah, actually, that the underground is fluff, but it doesn't feel like it's boring fluff. Like you go down there, you're doing some stuff, you're mining. Like you stay there for about an hour or two, and then like, all right, I'm sort of bored with it. But then you go up and do something else. Like it's
all that exists underground is being able to grind for Zonite and doing the Yiga clan side quest.
Yeah.
Those two things combined being like. And the underground is the size of the Hyrule as well. Yeah. And it's just too big. It's too big.
And it can be frustrating as well. Like there'll just be like big walls there and it's like, no, you can't go this way. Yeah. You have to get to the underground somewhere else.
Yeah. What does make up for it though is that they're directly connected to shrines on the overworld. So you can like just go bash out a shit ton of light roots underground, and then you know where all the shrines are above ground.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Like I reckon that'd be a lot more fucking tedious.
That makes up for the size of it, I feel.
Yeah. Anyway, let's leave that there. Tears of the Kingdom now. I've got to go play it. So before I cut you off again, anything else you want to discuss around the lounge?
No, that's it. That's all done. That Tears of the Kingdom update went longer than I thought it would.
As everything always does.
Yeah. But no. I'm good to move on to the news.
All right. Well, that takes us to the end of Round the Lounge. The news for this week. It's been a bit of a slow news week, but Game of Christmas was last
extended.
week, so it's extended.
We got hit by Boxing Day this morning at midnight.
Yeah, Nintendo did a direct, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But speaking of Vampire Survivors, which I just was, they're getting 4-player couch co-op. I did not have this on my bingo card. It's coming August 17th. It's only couch co-op, no online required.
Yeah, it's a shame that there's no online. Like, I appreciate couch co-op being in games as an option, but also we're at a point where both should be in games. Like, we should be having online and couch co-op.
Yeah, who's actually asking for a couch co-op? Like, literally nobody. Like, probably a handful of examples.
I do. Like, I don't use it as often as I used to, but I still appreciate couch co-op being in games as an option.
So but how many times would you genuinely use it? Like, everyone's like,
often,
oh no.
But I also don't often play multiplayer games anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I just think that the amount of times I want to play couch co-op, it's once at like a party or something. Like, oh, cool, this would be all right. Like when you go to a friend's house having a party, it's like, oh, let's bring out Smash, and we'll do it like that. Like it's not like I'm going to my friend's place to play like Halo Infinite on his couch.
I just think of times when like I'd go over to a friend's place and we'd go through the entire Borderlands 2 campaign together because we were playing it couch co-op. And
that's a very different time in our lives. That was Borderlands 2.
Yeah, but I also think there's people in that age bracket these days that would still appreciate couch co-op.
Yeah,
like just because we might not doesn't mean that teenagers now might and also don't want it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think teenagers are all chronically online. But hey, prove me wrong. If you're a teenager that's not chronically online and wants couch co-op, right in. Maybe we'll even have a guest, get a diversity of. Actually, no, we're not having fucking anybody that was born after the year 2000 in. Don't want that. But yeah, so it's interesting. I'm just reading this article about how the co-op mode will work. It seems that all the level up happens in turns. Very strange. But yeah, I wouldn't have said a couch co-op game is part of this.
I guess that makes sense because of how spreading out the characters would work. Like you'd have to ensure that everyone's getting an equal amount of XP for the kills, and someone's just not getting less because they're getting less enemies spawning near them. But also that sounds like it makes it 4 times longer per level up. Unless they've got like 4 times the enemies on the screen, that just sounds fucking atrocious. Or they cut down the amount of XP that needs to level up to account for the players. They can double the amount of XP received and half the amount needed. Anyway. So we've also got an Assassin's Creed Mirage update. I'm not sure whether this is a good news or bad news, but I think it's good news. I think this is good news because... Yeah. Well, so the story is that Assassin's Creed Mirage, the map size is the same as Assassin's Creed Unity, which is very weird thing to see because Assassin's Creed Unity's map is pretty big. It's not as big as like Origins or Odyssey or even Valhalla. I never played Valhalla or Odyssey. I have played Origins, and that was fucking too big. I reckon that's probably the upper limit of what you want. So it's good to see that they've sort of, and a lot of the feedback that I've heard about Ubisoft games recently has been like the map's too big. There's too many bullshit things to do. So it's good. And Assassin's Creed Mirage is a return to the series' core root. So I think it is good that they are reducing it. But I have seen a lot of discussion online that, oh no, they're
they're ripping us out of context. It's not fun. Like, we want more content, but more content is not necessarily always good content.
Yeah, no, that's like, I haven't played the new ones, but like the big preceding complaint I hear about those is that all of their maps are way too big. There's not enough to do to justify why those maps are as big as they are. Even Unity is probably too big to justify that game, but I appreciate going back to a map that size rather than the massive, massive open worlds they've been doing recently. It shows that they've got like some sense to tone it down and get some scope in, like bring down the scope of their projects to make more sense for what their games are.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's Unity. I do remember playing that, and that was pretty big.
I think the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood map size is probably perfect for an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, I'd probably I can't really remember it. It has been a while. Like, but I keep going back to, so Tears of the Kingdom is fucking a huge map, but there is always something fun or cool to do at every point or turn, pretty much, or something nice to look at. They can make the map as small or as big as they want, but if there's not fun things to do within that map, there's no point. All you're doing is bloating it.
Yeah, so considering a lot of Assassin's Creed environments is just being within a city, you need to make every segment of that interesting, and I think that's harder to do than making the world that Tears of the Kingdom is. Yeah,
well, let's see how it goes. We'll see how we go. And anyway, in other segue news, I get the feeling this might be a Saif news, but Baton Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster is coming out.
Yeah, this is, I think they're GameCube games. I forget exactly when these came out, but people have been clamoring for these to be remastered for a long time, and they got announced a little while ago, so that now we just have a firm release date of September 14, September 15 in Europe. Good to know. Good to know these are coming soon. That's like less than 2 months away. I'm excited for them, but it's also around a time period where there's a lot of stuff coming out, so I might skip over them for now and get them on sale later. Also, I think they're Switch only, which is even less reason to get it right away. Maybe wait to see if it comes to PC for me. If it's not on PC in a year, then I'll get it on sale on Switch.
Very interesting how it comes out a day later in Europe. I thought we were past those dates.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Like, Japan and Asia having September 15 makes sense because over there it'll be September 15 when it's September 14 in America. It's Europe that's the one that's weird.
Oh well, I've never heard of this game. I do not care. I don't know. It looks like a weird card game. I don't care. I sleep. Okay, and speaking of a rumor that speaking of things getting remastered or remade, some might say, Shin Megami Tensei 5, the complete edition, has been teased by a notable Chinese leaker. Very, very fucking cool.
Yeah, he's leaked a bunch of stuff before, like when Armored Core 6 would be happening, like when it was the announcement and release date. Stuff for God of War Ragnarok, stuff for Monster Hunter Rise on PlayStation, Xbox, and Windows. So he's been correct about a lot of things before, so there's no reason to like really doubt this.
It's the weirdest fucking tease. And there have been rumors floating around that the Shin Megami, so some of the Shin Megami Tensei games were coming to Xbox Game Pass because Xbox and Atlas seem to be having like a weird makeout session at the moment.
I think it's more Sega really, because Sega owns Atlas, remember, and Sega is always pretty buddy with Microsoft.
But I don't know, they seem to be like really going hard on Atlas, like the Atlas Persona games, like the Persona 3, 4, and 5 coming to like other consoles.
Yeah, those are like the biggest ways to go, hey, look, we got Japanese games.
Yeah.
We're trying to get the fuck again.
Yeah, it was just like a very weird way of doing it. And they, in the Xbox showcase, they did Persona 5 Tactics, Persona 3 Reload, plus that, whatever that Melody Metaphor or whatever that dumb name for that dumb game is.
And they all had like 48 to 72 hours locks to go, hey, you're not allowed to announce this on other platforms. Only announce it on Xbox and Windows Store for now.
Yeah, I honestly think that's a weird, deranged way because like it's not like going to stop people pre-ordering on other platforms. But anyway, yeah.
And it's a fucking Atlas game. Everyone knows they're going to release those on PlayStation for the AAA stuff and Nintendo for the lower end stuff.
Yeah, it was very strange. But anyway, like, I'm very keen for this. I've heard very good things about SMT5.
I've heard mixed things about SMT5. Like, it starts off very strong and by the end game, it kind of peters out. But I've been waiting for the PC version of this because when it released, data mining showed, oh, hey, there's PlayStation version and PC version in the source code. And also SMT5 was in the NVIDIA leak that has been 100% correct so far. So there was no reason to doubt it. And it's like, well, I don't need to play it on Switch where it's going to run poorly. I'll wait for the right time to play this. And having a complete edition come out seems like a very good right time.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. We can hope. And we can cope. Ugh.
Speaking of coping, do you want to actually say this game's name correctly this time?
No. Speaking of Atlas and doing weird things, Metaphor Refantasio, that's that Persona spin-off game, which is a spin-off of SMT. When you think about the spin-off, it's fucking crazy.
I think it does it injustice to call it a spin-off since this is basically a brand new IP.
Okay, so maybe spin-off isn't the right word, but the way that it was introduced, it was from the creators of Persona 3, 4, and 5. Which
you need to give that sort of headline to get people interested. Like, oh, they made games I like. Maybe I'll like this one.
Yeah, I think it's like from the creators of that favorite spin-off game you like. But yeah, so anyway, so they published Atlas, and the developer of this game, specifically Studio Zero, have published a 15-minute creator's message that pretty much talks a lot about the game. Is there anything specifically you wanted to talk about?
A little bit. I just wanted to bring this up because it's mostly just them talking about like their decision making of wanting to do a fantasy game this time and where their headspace is after doing Persona 5. Because Atlas, their big reasoning for doing a fantasy game is that Atlas this entire time has been doing games in contemporary environments, in like modern day environments, because when they were growing and making RPGs for the first time, everyone else was doing fantasy games, so they needed a way to like differentiate themselves. But now that everyone else is doing like modern day games, they want to have a crack at making a fantasy game, but with the Atlas twist, which is interesting to hear. I'm all for that. But something else I wanted to hone in on that the director said was that to them they didn't just want to do pure fantasy. Like the first concept art for the games, when it was just called Projects Refantasy, you look at it and it looks very Western medieval inspired, and that felt too conventional to them. So they wanted to give it a twist and blend elements of the modern world into it, bring in some of those modern elements and like make a twist of his fantasy mixing with reality and what we can try and do with that. There'll be like a lot of they went with the name Metaphor because they're going to be like trying to do a lot of metaphors between the fantasy and reality stuff. And Atlas symbolism is as subtle as a brick to the face, and they'll probably do that with this game as well. But no, those are cool ideas. I'm glad they're trying something different. I'm glad they're giving their reasonings behind it, and they seem like very good reasons to branch out like this, and I trust the plan.
Trust the process. Yeah, I don't know. I reckon it's just going to be a fantasy Persona game, but very interested to see how it works. I absolutely hate the main character having two different colored eyes because it literally just feels like they're ripping off what's his name? Fire Emblem game.
From Fire Emblem Engage.
Yeah, sorry, Fire Emblem Engage. Yeah.
Alear, like the main character.
Alear. Well, you can self-insert if you want.
Yeah.
My character's name was Steve. Actually, you know what's really funny? In Persona 3, I named my character my full name, and I will not be doxing myself, so I don't even fucking think about it. But like, it's very weird to see them say like my last name and they have the suffix like kun or after it.
A lot of people hate that, but I love that about the Persona games.
I fucking hate it. It's very fucking cringe. It's like they're speaking in English. Why do you have the Japanese honorifics at the end?
Because it takes place in Japan. It's only in English for you to understand it.
Yeah, then I don't need to understand like the suffix for it. Like you lose the. Doesn't matter. Dubs always have a subs, kids.
That is incorrect. This will be a debate we have later at some point.
Yeah, you know, get a couple of drinks into us. Like, get a couple of rum and cokes into us. We just punch each other on the head. Instead
of a tier list episode, next time it's just the two of us. We'll be debating subs and dubs for 3 hours.
If you like dubs, get in touch. If you like subs, stop listening. But anyway, speaking of taking some L's, unfortunately, state of the world's not in very good nick. Inflation's going up. If you don't believe me, Google Saif inflation, see what happens. But unfortunately,
I don't want you to see a history of me going from a skinny child to a fat child. Sorry, skinny child to fat man child.
But anyway, unfortunately, and in line with what PlayStation did a couple months ago, the Xbox Series X and Microsoft Game Pass are having their prices increased.
Hey, Steven, remember when 8 months ago Phil Spencer said they wouldn't be doing this?
And you believed him?
No, I didn't believe him. But I just want to remind everyone that he said that and clearly going against his word now.
Well,
never trust the CEO of gaming.
He's not the CEO of every single game.
That's what his title is. CEO of gaming.
Is it really?
Yeah, no, they flash that a lot. They flash that every time he speaks. It's his.
I thought it was Xbox gaming.
No, they got rid of the Xbox part of that and they just show CEO of gaming.
He's the CEO of Microsoft Gaming.
Yeah. That is his official title, but like when he's at interviews and flashcards, they removed the Xbox part.
Yeah, I believe you. It's funny, but he is the CEO of gaming. House of Games. Not funny at all. Yeah, this is unfortunate, but not surprising. It doesn't affect me in the slightest because I have Game Pass for 3 years from a different country, and I already have a Series X.
I want to bring up a hypothetical situation.
Nope. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. The voices in your head telling you what to do? Anyway, sorry, that was rude of me. Go on.
So they're doing this to go in line with what Sony did last year. Sony, and they like had their Christmas home run of, we're not going to increase the price like Sony did because they wanted the holiday season to try and go in their favor. And now that the holidays are well past done and it's like long enough that people have forgotten that they weren't going to, they're doing it now. But I think come holiday season this year, Sony's going to lower their price of the PlayStation 5 while Xbox gets stuck with this new full price for a little while longer. And I think that'll be an interesting moment to see that after both increasing their prices, Sony's going to undercut them in value later this year.
Interesting. I would have said no. I don't think I agree with that, only because the markup on like consoles are very slim, and from my understanding, like very common for game companies to either be making a loss or to be selling the consoles at cost. Like there's very slim margins.
They used to sell them at a loss, which was really interesting.
Yeah,
I think with the PS3 generation, they started selling them at No, even PS3 generation, they were selling at a loss, and they were like, it needs to take a console and one game for us to break even on a per console sold.
Yeah, it was something weird like that. It was just very strange, which is why I don't think like that for PlayStation to raise the price was probably a decision that was made not very lightly at all. And the same thing probably with Xbox. And of course, Phil was like, oh no, we're never going to do it. And then he gets a tap on the shoulder from the financial accountants 8 months later, and it's like, big fella, you have to fucking do something. We can't do this anymore. So then he does it. And then I don't think PlayStation can be like, we were changing our prices. Like, unless they do something to drastically reduce the price on their internal supply chain.
I think it'll just be like, by the time Christmas or Black Friday hits this year, in general, the price will have lowered for the components, and Sony can probably cut off like, not going to be a big one, but probably cut like $50 off the price, like $50. And that'll be enough to like undercut Microsoft and get them some big press of Microsoft increased the price recently, but Sony's cutting theirs.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
It's also been like 3 years since the consoles have come out. So
it has, yeah. And don't forget, we're in that weird life cycle where maybe we get it like a Xbox Series X Pro or a PS4.5.
Which is funny. That's another thing I didn't have on the docket, but recently I think it was Phil Spencer, maybe it was Matt Booty, I'm not sure entirely who, but one of them said that there won't be a mid-gen refresh for Xbox this generation because the Series X is what they considered a mid-gen refresh. They just released it day one. So they consider the Xbox One S the base and the Series X to be what they would have released for mid-gen, and then they're not going to release another Xbox until next generation.
Holy shit, that's fucking wild. Because then if PlayStation comes out with a PS5, like PS5 Pro or PS5.5.
I hope they don't, because these consoles feel powerful enough right now that they don't need to do pros.
Well, you say that, but then at the same time, we've got this. The Starfield sort of discussion is weird because it has to release to the Series S, which means I have to turn it down a bit. But like Final Fantasy XVI doesn't run at 60 frames 4K stable. Like if it did, I'd say I think we're very close. Like a mid-gen refresh probably could do Final Fantasy 16 at, if not 4K, just maybe
the thing with that though also is that let's take the Final Fantasy example to the extreme. When Final Fantasy 15 launched, they did it around the time the PlayStation 4 Pro was coming out. So PlayStation 4 base was locked to like they only had the 30 FPS option, and they said we're targeting 60 FPS on PlayStation 4 Pro, but what they ended up doing was like consistently around 30 to 40 frames per second, and you'd only hit 60 if you were staring straight at the ground or straight up at the sky. So it's that weird position where PS5 at the moment is still in a stronger position than what a PS4 Pro refresh would have done. And I feel like those mid-gen refreshes happen to keep up with PC gaming, but we're at a point now where it is not trying to keep up, but in some aspects PC is behind in the consoles right now when it comes to like how they handle SSD loading and things like that, and like graphics caching and shader compilations, where consoles don't have those issues and PC needs to catch up in those issues, while in just general performance PC is always going to kind of be at the top if it's ported correctly.
Yeah, I was just about to say that the porting things to PC is always a
it can be a messy situation. So we're kind of in a nebulous zone where it's kind of an even market between them. So doing a pro doesn't feel necessary, because at that point it just feels like you're making a premium product for the sake of making a premium product.
Yeah, and it is definitely like diminishing returns. That like what, like let's say they do an Xbox Series X Pro, like what do we get out of it? Like instead of things taking 8 seconds to load, they take 5 seconds to load, or 3 seconds or something like.
Yeah, and on the PS5 side of things, they only just recently got to a state where PS5s are on shelves properly and people can just go and buy them. The supply issue is finally sorted out, and it took until like this year for that supply issue problem to be sorted out. So it'd be really weird to go, oh, hey, you can buy a PS5, here's the Pro, and that one's going to have supply issues. So good luck.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. I just feel like the market isn't in a good position to have them.
Yeah, that's actually probably a good way of putting it. And whatever you think, well, the Switch 2, whether it's real or not real, and the leaks going off for that.
That one needs to happen because the Switch is old as fuck. There's modern phones and tablets that are stronger than the Switch now.
And how Tears of the Kingdom runs on the Switch is nothing short of magic, but you can really tell, like, the draw distance is not very good, considering it's an open world game, and the load times are fucking atrocious. And I think it's just because we're spoiled now. Like, if something like
it's really weird to go play. Even playing it emulated, it's really weird to go and deal with load times in Tears of the Kingdom, and then going and playing a PS5 game where loading is done near instant.
Yeah, like gone are the days where it's like it's a loading screen. I have to pull out my phone. Like, I don't do that anymore. Like, by the time I pull out the phone, unlock the screen, it's loaded in. But Tears of the Kingdom, you can tell it's behind, and it does get a bit framey in areas, especially if there's like a lot on the screen. There's like a fire going off and all that kind of stuff. But it is nothing short of magic how that game runs on that system from 2017. Maybe because it's a cartridge, not a disc. I don't know.
It's on flash memory, so it's still okay. It's better than it would have been on a hard drive, but flash memory still isn't the best.
Doesn't it deteriorate faster as well? Like, you're prone to like breakages or something? I don't know. It's magic.
The number one thing I hope that the next Switch does is has an NVMe card like the Steam Deck does and the Asus ROG does.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way it doesn't.
You never know with Nintendo. You never know if they're going to be behind for another generation.
Well, they might.
Like, even when they adopted CDs, they did the wrong CDs.
Oh, the mini ones. Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, and we have to be conscious that Nintendo's thing, for whatever reason, is the gimmick. The Wii was motion controls. The Wii U was that fucking tablet thing. The Switch was a perfect version of that tablet. Like, it's docked, it's undocked. Very easy. It's seamless. It is seamless. You can put something in the dock, it goes straight to the TV. You take it out of the dock, it goes straight to the tablet.
They lost out on the 2-screen experience, but no one likes the 2-screen experience except for certain games.
Yeah, and the DS and the 3DS, there was something the Wii U could have done, but the 2DS, or the DS and the 3DS were sort of doing it a lot better in a handheld way. Like, I'm just very conscious that everyone's like, oh no, Nintendo's going to have to upgrade it and they'll have to do this and that. And it's like, Nintendo's got to have a gimmick. Like, it's
yeah.
No, you're right. Like, oh, this Switch does 4K. It's like, yeah, but what else? Like, that's their thing. But maybe they won't. Maybe they're out of gimmicks. Like, I don't know what the next thing could be. The next gimmick could be.
No, you're absolutely right to think that way, because all they need to do is a stronger Switch. They've got the perfect thing. They've locked this perfect market for themselves, but it is Nintendo, and they probably do want to try and do something to differentiate their next console from the Switch. And it feels like people just want a stronger Switch, and Nintendo probably won't be satisfied with just that. So you're right to like argue against it, but yeah, it's a weird situation. Yeah. It's a weird situation. I know what I want them to do. Whether Nintendo does that is up to them.
Yeah, like do we get it this year? Everyone was saying it was supposed to come out end of last year.
I think we're going to reveal this year. I think we do a similar thing to the Switch where they reveal it at the end of the year and they release early next year.
Yeah, okay. Can't really pick it with Nintendo, can you? And speaking of not being able to pick things, apart from that really big booger in your nose, Nintendo pretty much Wednesday morning was like, oh yeah, in 24 hours there will be a Nintendo Direct coming out. And it's like, oh, okay. What's the occasion? And it's like, don't care, watch it.
Summer Games Fest finished. We're doing our turn now.
Yeah, but like, I'm always in awe of Nintendo's ability to be like, fuck it, no hype, 24 hours, it's coming out. And
And then they also just deliver.
It.
Like the Nintendo Direct they did today was so much better than the PlayStation and Xbox showcases.
I think. So the thing that I was going to say about this is it's the way that Nintendo does Direct is there's a couple of conversations, but it's just their presentation is a lot better. Yeah, like how they introduce games is a lot better. How they show the games is better. They've got the
but I think they also waited for the right moments where their lineup was perfect, and they capitalized on a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't want to go down this list. There is 31 announcements.
We're not doing all of them. I just want to talk about the ones that I care about because all the farming simulators, I just do not give a shit. I'm going to skip over them.
We are definitely in that era where they've seen how good Animal Crossing was, and it's like, you know what? Let's copy it. Just like in the 360 era with the third-person shooters, and every second game was a third-person shooter with cover-based mechanics. Now every second game is a life sim. And one of them's free to play. I don't know how the fuck that's going to work. Very crazy. But they started off. I'll start off with the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC. The Teal Mask, which comes out in very soon in fall 2023. Yeah. Well, like their fall, so our spring. And then the Indigo Disc, which is like Christmas.
So they'll be coming about a year after the game launched.
Which is roughly what happened. Like this is their third version. The DLC is not really the third version, but it's what they're doing instead of a third version. And it's memory serves.
I kind of like that better because that means more content as long as the content is good.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works with Sword and Shield because I skipped the DLC in those games, but the stuff that they're showing for these DLCs look pretty significant and good. So just to break it down, the Teal Mask is going to be introducing a new area that's more Japanese festival themed. Like it feels like a small Japanese town sort of thing, like you'd get in kind of like Inaba from Persona 4. And they're going to be living, and they're going to be doing a festival at that time, and all the festival legendaries are going to be around, and you just take part in the festivities. And it's just an extra small, new additional area to the map to explore. And then the, what was the other one called? The Indigo Disc. Yeah, the Indigo Disc looks like you're going to be at a new academy that has basically a safari zone in the middle of it where it's just one big disc area that's been split up into 4 different regions. Like you've got your ice quadrant, you've got your forest quadrants, you got your desert quadrants, and all the Pokemon associated with them will be in those areas. So it looks like the lesser of the 2 DLCs, but it might also be more story focused, which will be interesting. Like
I don't know. There was like a part of like the Indigo Disc. It looked like they were in that because the Indigo Disc has like a weird school or something. Just the way that the way it seemed like more of like a stadium. It made me like hope that there was like a. It feels like battle tower or battle stadium type of thing. Like
I'm hoping this is kind of like I hope this is like a tournament arc sort of story.
Yeah, and that's what I hope it is as well. We'll have to see how we go. It's sort of, I think I didn't really gel with the Sword and Shield DLC because I got into it like very late, like a year or 2 after it released. So I missed all the hype in that. So I might get this on release. Even though I said I wouldn't, I might. I believe if I pre-order it, I get a special Hisuian Zoroark.
I believe so.
Yeah, or maybe I'll see that after the first day or 2, and then I might get it. But anyway, Scarlet and Violet DLC. Very interesting how they started with that.
Like they just got it out of the way early, but I can see why with with the reception of how these games run. I can get why you'd show them off early, because you can kind of still see performance issues in this trailer. So it's just like, let's get the ugly game out of the way first. Like, this is a big deal. People are going to pop off early for this, but also it's kind of ugly. Let's shove it to the side.
Yeah, very strange. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know where you're going to... You can pick a game next.
Yeah, Sonic Superstars just got another trailer. It was more like a just a introduction for the Nintendo fans of what this game is. They had a narrator go over it. Looks pretty neat. Looks pretty fun. Music's good in it. Nothing new though, so it's just kind of like a watch at your own leisure sort of thing. I am excited for that game though.
Yeah, I don't think I am, but as long as you are, my friend.
Also worth noting is that it's coming out in fall 2023, which is going to be important later. And yeah,
Super Mario RPG?
I'll just quickly say Persona 5 Tactica got announced for the Switch as well. Kind of same thing. And
don't care for that.
Yeah,
well, I do care for that, but it's already been announced. But
yeah, just nice to see that it's coming to Switch, and also Detective Pikachu sequel happening. They threw this in as well. I care about this.
This is the Detective Pikachu game.
Is it? I thought this was a sequel.
It's the
because
sequel to the game.
The first one came out. Yeah. Sorry, the Detective Pikachu game. Now I get what you mean.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, the first one came out on the 3DS back in like 2017 or something. And then there was one tease. There was either a remake of the first one teased to the Switch, or it was going to be a sequel, and then nothing really happened. But they're releasing this.
Yeah, I hope they release the first one on Switch. No, because I skipped it because it was a digital-only 3DS game.
Oh, that's right. It was digital only. And I remember that.
And after the Switch had come out too.
Yeah, it was like really late into the cycle. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
it's like one of the
It was the perfect way to kill that off.
Kill the whole franchise off. Didn't it come out really like a year or two earlier?
2 years later than Japan got it as well.
Wow, 2 years. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm of fuck this game.
Yeah, just get it out. But I'm probably not going to get it.
After playing Ace Attorney, I really like the. I've really gotten into wanting to play more of these like mystery kind of BNE adventure games. So I'm interested in it. And my only disappointment is that Pikachu is not voiced by Danny DeVito in it.
No.
It's also interesting to see that this is coming out after Generation 8, so they've got a bunch of Generation 8 Pokemon in like a nicer fidelity than they were in their own game now. Inteleon still looks fucking stupid.
Dumb look Pokemon. Yeah.
Fucking Muppet of a Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, the Super Mario RPG is getting a remake, which is very, very cool.
I love that the art style of this is trying to mimic the original CG renders and box art they did for the old Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, it does. It does. I thought, like, when I first saw it, I thought it was going to be just they were bringing it to Nintendo Switch Online, and I've heard very good things about Super Mario RPG. Then for them to be like, no, we're remaking it.
Full remake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there were talks about like this being an issue to get onto Nintendo Switch Online because Square Enix developed this game, so they partially owned the rights to it. Like, they don't own the Mario IP, but they kind of own this game and the original characters for it.
Yeah.
So it looks like Square Enix is... It also kind of just looks like they didn't put it on Nintendo Switch Online because they've had this in the pipeline for a while, and they're just like, yeah, no, we're just going to remake the game and put that out instead. And it looks great. It sounds great. They brought Yoko Shimomura back to rearrange the music. And she was the woman that did the original game's music. So just I appreciate when they get the original composer to come back. There's things that look new, like they look like they've made some new cinematic attacks, like limit breaks. Like I'm just super keen on this. I don't have a deep connection with Super Mario RPG. I only played like the first hour or so on an emulator one time, and then I forgot to get back to it. But from that small hour I played, it's charming, it's fun to play, and I am super interested to go into it properly with this remake.
Yeah, I'm very excited as well. For some reason,
sorry, my Square Enix shill came out for a little bit for that game.
Yeah, I could say it was when that game was released. It wasn't even Square Enix; it was just SquareSoft at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was SquareSoft.
But for some reason, leaving that there, very excited. For some reason, the Batman Arkham trilogy is being remastered for Switch. Something that nobody asked for.
Yeah, it was really weird seeing Arkham Knight in Switch fidelity because I'm so
Yeah,
used to how that game looks on PS4 and like looking immaculate that seeing it with all those jaggies and low resolution textures was
that's not gonna
really
look good.
really weird. Yeah.
And I don't know who was asking for this. Like I don't know. Those games are so fucking like. When did Arkham Knight come out? Like what, 2015, 2016? Like it's been a while.
I think it might have even been 2014.
Yeah, and the first one came out 08.
Yeah, the first one was 08, and I think Arkham City was 2011.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Bouncing backwards for a second, they teased a Princess Peach game will be happening, and it looks like they're not going to do shitty mood swings like they did for Super Princess Peach on DS, which is nice and appreciated. Princess Peach will no longer be tied to misogyny in the game industry.
I didn't realize it had a mood swing mechanic. What the fuck?
Yeah, no. All like to get through enemies and stuff, you have to use her PMS switch.
Fucking hell! Holy shit! How they get away with that?
I don't know. I don't think that game sold well, so it just kind of got buried and people overlooked it. And also, Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion 2 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. I think that means all 3 Luigi Mansion games will be on Nintendo Switch. And I'm really just bouncing back onto these for a second because I want to highlight that, holy shit, they're taking advantage of the Mario movie just coming out and being a massive success. Like, Mario hype is big right now, and they're capitalizing by going, look at all these Mario projects we're just about to release or are in development to come out soon.
Yeah, like it's pretty much what I expected, to be honest. There were rumors about like if they were going to actually do like a Mario movie game, but I'm glad they did not do that.
Yeah, no, just doing a Mario movie game would have sucked, but remaking Mario RPG, doing a new Princess Peach game because Peach was massive in the movie, and just remastering a Luigi's Mansion game because that was kind of Luigi's character in the movie to a T. Like they showed him in more spooky situations. It's really well done.
That. I did not like Luigi's Mansion 2, but I think maybe if they're remastering it, I might, because I hated how it was like mission by mission. It seemed a lot more smaller than what it should have been. I didn't like that.
Yeah, that was kind of
fixes that. Yeah,
I doubt it because that was just kind of that means they have to change the entire structure of the game.
Yeah, but my trigger was broken on my 3DS at the time, so this game was a fucking nightmare for me to play.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
It would only work if it was so for those playing along at home, to suck with the vacuum, you had to press the right button down. My right button didn't work, so I couldn't suck. So I was just really good at this game. I had to hit the.
Is there anything on the docket between Arkham trilogy and Dragon Quest Monsters you want to bring up?
They're still making Just Dance for some reason. That's been a game every year for the last 10 years. It's good for old people,
retirement homes.
So it actually does sell?
That's literally it. Yeah, it's for retirement homes and elderly hospitals. It Just Dance is a good way for them to get up and move and be flexible.
Interesting.
So Ubisoft is doing the elderly a service.
Putting them in the ground.
And that's why they were still releasing those games on the Wii for so long, because the other consoles were too expensive and all those places could afford were Wii's.
Okay, all right. But yeah, no, nothing for me. I'm pretty sure that's it for me from the Direct.
Really? Okay, so
apart from the
very last thing.
Yeah, the last thing. Everything else is there.
Okay, so Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince, which in Japan is called Dragon Quest Monsters 3 because this is an IP that's existed for a while. This looks interesting to me because I just kind of like Dragon Quest stuff. They usually put out a Dragon Quest project every year, but this one's more of a monster capture, monster tamer sort of game, and you combine them together like an SMT game would. I think Dragon Quest might actually predate SMT in doing this. I know Dragon Quest predates Pokemon in monster capture, which is just some interesting fun facts. But yeah, no, in this game, you play as, I think it's a villain from Dragon Quest IV, and they show at the very end that a Dragon Quest IV hero is in the game in some capacity. So it looks like a neat throwback and looks like a neat game. I'm excited for it, and it comes out in December, which is probably a good point that it's a little bit after Spider-Man, so it might be in a dead period for me where I could just pick this up and play it and have some fun with it.
Full price? I don't think so.
It depends how big the game is, and like maybe full price for this is like $50 instead of 60, 70. Pikmin 4 got like showing off some more stuff. They showed off the new Pikmin, which is a glowing Pikmin that helps with going at night, which is a new thing for the games as well. Like you can actually explore at night. It looks a little more open worldy than I was expecting, because Pikmin is usually just like a small map that you explore and try to get everything in. This is doing like more open areas, explore at your own leisure sort of thing. And they're even doing like there's ripping from Tears of the Kingdom and doing here's an underground map as well, like to double the size of the play map. Nintendo seems to be really into that at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, they do. I don't know what it is. I saw it as more of like a weird challenge mode type of thing.
Yeah, they show a little bit as like a challenge mode, but they also show just like general exploration under there where you can go and find survivors. So yeah, I don't know 100% what the goal is with that, but it looks fun. They also like really lowered the camera. Like you can keep it out and zoomed out like you would in a regular Pikmin game, but they've also let you get it really down close to the ground so that it's basically like a third-person adventure game sort of camera. So just kind of neat. A demo is going to be coming out for that in a week. I will not be playing that demo for reasons. But no, I'm interested enough in Pikmin 4, and then right after this, they also announced Pikmin 1 and 2 are out right now on Nintendo Switch's eStore. So every Pikmin game will be playable on the Switch. Pikmin 2 lost some of its soul though, because they removed all the sorry, I'm blanking on the word at the moment. Cross promotion, basically. So you won't get a Duracell battery anymore, and you won't get.
I remember I had that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that sucks, but those things happen. It does lose a little bit of soul because finding a Duracell battery in Pikmin is like really funny, but it's not it's not game breaking. Metal Gear Solid Collection. Metal Gear Solid Collection got a announcement of coming October, so we know when that's dropping for sure now.
Not really surprised.
Penny's Big Breakaway was a 3D platformer they showed off that I thought looks really neat. Like this character is using a yo-yo, and they use that yo-yo in interesting ways. And I just generally like 3D platformers anyway. It looks like a good return to like those Banjo-Kazooie style games, or even kind of like similar to Mario Odyssey, but with like a lot of movement mechanics utilizing that yo-yo really well. And yeah, it looks fun, looks cute, looks interesting. I will be interested in this when we see more of it and just know more about it. That's being slated for early next year. Square Enix shilling some more. Star Ocean 2 is getting a remake called Star Ocean: The Second Story R. I
thought you said you weren't going to list this list out.
I'm skipping over some stuff, and I think this is the last thing I'm going to talk about besides the last thing.
Okay, very cool.
Like, I do not care for WarioWare. I do not care about talking about the Mario Kart DLC. Yeah. Star Ocean generally just looks fantastic, like art style wise. And this is a Star Ocean that everyone loves. Like, no complaints. Like, no one in the Star Ocean fan base ever has anything bad to say about Star Ocean 2. This is the peak of this franchise. And so it looks like Square Enix understands that this is the one they couldn't fuck up, so they're putting a lot of effort into it. It's kind of going the HD 2D routes that Octopath Traveler does. And I hate
that art style.
I think they've been getting better at it the more they've done it. Like, Octopath Traveler 1 had a lot of bloom issues, and slowly they've been just getting kind of better at mixing the 2D sprites with the 3D environments. But yeah, no, I'm super keen on this, and this being the one that Star Ocean fans like really highlight as the peak of the series has me super interested in trying it out and seeing what all the hype is about behind it. And yeah, so do you want to take over for the last one?
You know what? Yes. So
Good.
they've.
I need to drink some water after all that talking.
Yeah. This is obviously the year of Mario. They have fully announced Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which does seem to be a 2D Mario game. Think of things like
fantastic. I love 2D Mario, and it's been like 10 years since the last one.
Yeah, since was it New Super Mario Brothers? Was the last
New
one?
Super Mario Brothers U. Yeah, that was the last
Yeah.
one, and they've just re-released it a couple of times and done the Super Mario Makers since then.
Yeah, and Super Luigi U and whatever, all that kind of stuff. They just kept
But that was an expansion, so I don't count it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it seems like it's a 2D platform, but like the art style is different, and it seems like there's a lot of different things going on. Like the piranha plants get out of the warp pipe. Mario has like a power up that turns him into an elephant. There's like mechanics where you can play as Daisy or Peach. I'm not really.
I think that's just general character switching, letting you play whoever you want. Which holy shit, they made Daisy playable. I'm so happy. She's my favorite when it comes to like Mario Party, Mario Kart, and all that. I absolutely love Daisy and her loud tomboy attitude. So I'm really happy to finally be able to play her in a platformer. Yeah,
should be interesting at the very least. I'm not usually a big fan of 2D platformers. I know I've said this before with Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, but I can definitely appreciate a good 2D platformer like Rayman Origins and the new Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, Mario 2D platformers in general, just I don't think there's a bad one.
Yeah, and they've got the formula down to a science. Like they can keep a way that it's like fresh and new and interesting, but they'll also have like difficulty spikes and stuff. I do sort of like how like they've gone a bit like crazy with the art style. Like it seems like there are some areas where like the Goombas look a bit different, or they've taken things which you would normally expect, but they've changed it.
It doesn't look like the new Super Mario Brothers games, which did get a bit stale to look at. This is like very, I want to say more stylized. Like it looks more bouncy. It's kind of like more Nintendo's take on what Super Mario RPG looks like, kind of.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, and they're kind of taking advantage of this as well, being like, it kind of looks like it's in a dream world.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That's probably a good way to describe it. This is like a Mario game in a Kirby sort of style visually.
That's a good way of thinking. That's a good way of thinking about it. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm convinced, but we'll definitely have to see. When's it coming out?
It's coming out in fall. It's coming out in fall around the same time a new 2D Sonic game is coming out.
Very funny. Yeah, we'll just have to see how we go. I'll get
both of them. Like, I love 2D Sonic. I love 2D Mario. I don't need to compete them, but it's funny that the console wars, like, rivalry is alive in that sort of sense. It's very funny to see that both of them are happening at the same time.
Yeah. But, yeah, overall an okay direct, I think.
I thought it was really strong, but that's mostly because I like a lot of Square Enix stuff and Nintendo stuff. So they showed a lot that I really care about. It's just, there was a little bit of fluff in there, like the Arkham collection and the farming simulators. And but overall, this is like a very strong showcase to me. I think there was more things in this I cared about than both the PlayStation and Xbox stuff combined.
The Xbox one for me definitely got me going. This was good. It had some good parts, but apart from the Mario announcements, I think it was like pretty mid. But yeah,
I think you're fair to say that.
Yeah,
and it was good to agree though.
Yeah, that's just a personal taste thing. Yeah, but it was good to see that everything that they talked about is coming out this year, except for that Princess Peach Mario game.
Yeah, the Peach thing and the Luigi's Mansion thing, which Luigi's Mansion is a remake anyway, so that not coming out as soon as possible is fine. And the Peach, it's just a Peach thing, and even then, like, we're getting 2 other Mario things this year. Let them cook.
Let them cook, indeed. Well, do we have an audience question for the week, Saif? I get the feeling you want to sort of just finish this so you can go play Final Fantasy. Have a bit of a shorter one today.
We do not, though. I forgot to check the emails today, but I just checked now. We do not have anything in there.
Yep, she didn't put us down like that. But if you do have a question, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and then let us know what you liked in the Nintendo Direct. Or don't. Tell us a weird, dumb question. How many Krispy Kremes do you reckon you could eat in a sitting? What's your favorite Krispy Kreme flavor? There's a lot of things. But that brings us to the end of Fast Travel Lounge this week. You got anything big on this week? Saif, I don't think there's any video games coming out. Really?
No, I'm just going to sit at home and play this very mid game called Final Fantasy XVI. Probably the first time I'm bringing this up ever on the podcast. It looks okay. Do
they have another one come? Never heard of that.
Yeah,
16 they're up to. What happened there? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's very lucky that these are like anthology games, so you don't need to play all 15 beforehand. I just
downloaded the first one. I was just about to get started.
It's okay. That one's like 2 hours long. You'll be fine.
Is it really?
No, I think it's like I think you can get it done in like 10. If you're maybe if you turn on the EXP booster and the guild booster, then even faster than that. Like if you just want to kind of speedrun it.
Yeah, but yeah. What am I getting up to? Probably nothing.
What are you getting up to?
I want to play some more Tears of the Kingdom. Vampire Survivors. Persona 3. Yeah, I'm very close to the end of Persona 3, so I want to finish that off this weekend. And hopefully Vampire Survivors as well. I'm still very far away from Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe I'll start up a new video game. I don't know what I'll start up there. Forza Horizon? I don't know. Let us know what game I should start.
Patrick's talked about Forza Horizon so much. It'd be interesting to hear the Steven take on it.
Yeah. Need for Speed Unbound came to Game Pass as well. Maybe I'll play that.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, yeah.
I see that being more of a Steven waits till they announce they're about to delist it.
It's been 6 months. But yeah, well, that comes to the end of Round the Lounge. Thank you for tuning in this week. Remember to live, laugh, and love when you're liking that subscribe button. And also tell a friend. Even if you don't have any friends, tell them anyway. Tell your boss, tell your coworker. Tell the guy across the road from you. Tell your
local Krispy Kreme cashier.
When you're wearing a Krispy Kreme beanie like I am. But yeah, thank you very much. We have been Fast Travel Lounge. Yeah, I'm not sure I will be doing a funny happy birthday thing at the end of this, so I'll leave that to Saif and I'll give him very short notice so he'll be under pressure. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. Good night.
The funniest thing I've ever seen is when you open a Final Fantasy XVI case, the first thing you see is Forspoken.